Oh my. Hello everybody, welcome back. So about a week and a half ago, I asked you guys on my Facebook group and in my community section on YouTube what copycat recipe you guys wanted to see. And I tallied up the votes from both and I picked the winner because it won from the most votes. But you know what was crazy about it? Facebook, something totally different won than what won on my YouTube community. So I meshed them all together, and the recipe that won was Texas Roadhouse rolls and rattlesnake bites. So that's what we're doing today. Some good old copycat Texas Roadhouse rolls, rattlesnake bites. Let's do it. This is what we're going to need for the rattlesnake bites. 4 cups of pepper jack cheese, 1 jalapeno, 1 cup of milk, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon paprika, a half a cup of flour. And it said optional, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. If you like heat, we're good. We're good. Oh, and of course, some breadcrumbs, plain breadcrumbs. Now, every recipe that I found for these copycat rattlesnake bites said that the blocked cheese is best to use because you can grate it up and it doesn't have that fine layer of whatever they put on it to keep it from sticking. But my Walmart had no blocks of pepper jack cheese when I went to get this, so I had to settle for this. You need 16 ounces total. So if you can get the block pepper jack cheese, get that instead of this. But to kind of help my situation, I'm going to put it in a food processor. Hopefully it'll stick together better after I do that. So let's hope this works. This part isn't necessary. This is just me trying to blend it up a little bit better because it said it needed to be very finely shredded from the block. And this ain't fine. See, that's not finely shredded. So I'm hoping using a food processor will make it fine. So I'm putting all 16 ounces of cheese in here, and I'm going to try to get this diced up pretty fine, if I can put this on correctly. There we go. Oh, yeah. That's making it pretty fine. Okay. Now, that is a heck of a lot finer than what it was in the bag. See, look at that. That'll do. Now, it says to chop up the jalapeno and put it in with the cheese. I'm not putting the seeds in. I'm just going to cut off the meat around the edges. And they say the heat is in the seeds. And hopefully I don't get jalapeno hands by doing it like this. Because I'm not touching the inside of the jalapeno. There we go. That's good. That's good, right? I'm probably making this more difficult than it needs to be. I'm pushing the jalapenos to the bottom so they can chop, chop, chop. You know. Here we go. Okay, I say that's good. Now remember, you do not have to use a food processor. This is just, I happen to have one and I needed to get that cheese finer. So if you have the blocks, just get a fine cheese grater, grate it up, and chop up your jalapenos. That's all you have to do. You do not need this at all. This is what it looks like. I'll show you up close. Just fine cheese and fine jalapenos. Just like that. Now, the next step, very simple. Ignore my ugly pan. She's been used. Okay, it's what they look like when they're used. So what I'm going to do, we're going to roll this cheese and jalapeno mixture up into balls pretty tight. Like this. Okay, we have made all of our balls. There is 26 total. And the next step, put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and mix up our flour mixture. We got the 1/2 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and 1 tablespoon of paprika. Mix that on up. Set that to the side. Into another bowl, just going to pour out some plain breadcrumbs. Another bowl, 1 cup of milk, and 1 egg. Without the shell, preferably. Mix this up together. Okay, set this aside as well. Over here, I am heating up some oil for frying. They have been in the freezer for about 20 minutes. I have everything set up here, and we're going to coat them and throw them in that hot oil I have over. So the first thing we do, throw in the flour mixture. Throw it in the egg and milk mixture. Then toss it in the breadcrumb mixture. And then we throw this beautiful creature into this hot oil. Okay, this is how I'm doing it. I did it the first way, and it didn't have a good crust on it. So I'm dipping it in the flour, the egg, back to the flour, back to the egg, now into the breadcrumbs. I think this way is better than the way described. It helps the cheese stay in there better. All right, this is what they look like, and they look pretty good. See, this is the crust from the first round, and I thought it was a little thin. This is more like it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this rattlesnake bite. Now, y'all, I think it looks pretty spot on. Let's crack her open, see what it looks like. Here we go, here we go. Oh, my. Oh, look at that stretch. Here we go. Oh my gosh, it's spot on.
Look at the pull. Look at the pull. That's good.
And I like to dip mine in ranch. Of course. Hello. I have some ranch, of course. Let's take a dip. Let's take a dip. Oh man, this is great. This is better than Texas Roadhouse. How do we feel about it?
Really good. I want that one.
Good enough one. It made 26 of them. Let's get my boo-boo in here.
Yep.
Does it taste like it could be in Texas Roadhouse?
It's better than Texas Roadhouse. Anything they got.
Let's talk about price point like usual. If you go to Texas Roadhouse and order one order of rattlesnake bites, usually it comes with about 8 to 10. It is never the same. Rattlesnake bites with ranch on the side. So I downloaded their app and I added 3 orders of rattlesnake bites because that's kind of around the amount that I made. I was assuming because I made 26 and you get either 8 to 10 per order. So I added 3 orders of rattlesnake bites to my order, and it was $23.97 before tax. It was over $26 after tax. Now, with the rattlesnake bites that I made, the majority of this was stuff that you already have in your house, like a half a cup of flour. You probably already have that. 1 egg, like a cup of breadcrumbs if you have breadcrumbs. But let's just say you don't have it. That's $1 at Walmart. Now, the cheese, 2 packs of cheese was $1.97 a piece. That tiny little jalapeno I bought cost me 19 cents. I had to use a cup of milk that I already had, but I know this all costs money. So all I had to spend was a little over $4 for all of these because I already had everything else. But if you divide each thing that I used by the amount that I used, I would say you could make that for $10 or less. Definitely $8 or less, even if you had to go buy a little box of the shelf-stable milk at the Dollar Tree. For me, the savings is about $20. But if you don't have some of these ingredients and you have to go buy it, the savings would still be more than half for you. Way more than half. And these are absolutely bomb. Y'all, they taste so much better than Texas Roadhouse. They're good. These are good. Now it's time to make those awesome, fluffy, and delicious Texas Roadhouse rolls. You're going to need a 1/3 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 packet of active dry yeast, 1 egg room temperature, a stick of butter room temperature and sun for later, 4 cups of all-purpose flour, and 1 1/4 cup of milk. This is all you're going to need to make these awesome rolls. The first thing we're going to do is heat up our milk. It has to be 110 degrees. I did this by just sticking it in the microwave for about a minute. I think you can see it there. It's 110 degrees. So we're going to add our milk to a bowl. And with that milk, we're going to add our sugar, the white sugar, and we're going to mix this up lightly. We're not going to over mix it or anything. Just stir it up just a little bit. I'm using my dough whisk here. I'm telling y'all, these things are amazing. I love using my dough whisk. Now we're just going to sprinkle that packet of active dry yeast over top. We're not going to mix it in. We're just going to sprinkle it over top. And we're going to let it sit until it's nice and foamy, which for me took about 7 minutes. So now it's nice and foamy, so we can go to the next step, which is, of course, we're going to add our salt. And then next, we're going to add our half a stick of room temperature butter. It is nice and soft and malleable. Then I'm going to add 1 egg along with 2 cups of the all-purpose flour. Now I'm going to mix this up with my dough whisk. And we're going to mix it up until it's nice and smooth. That's why your butter needs to be room temperature, so it can be easy to smooth out, especially with that dough whisk. Now, if you have a mixer, you can definitely use a stand mixer, but I wanted to use my dough whisk because I love it. Now, I got that nice and smooth, so I'm going to start adding the rest of that flour. I'm going to do it a cup at a time. So I added 1 cup of the flour. I'm mixing that together, and when it's fully mixed, I'm going to add the last cup of flour, and I'm just going to mix it all with my dough whisk. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This took me all of 2 minutes to do. I made the dough into a nice little dough ball here, and then I coated this bowl with some oil, and I'm just going to place my dough ball into that greased bowl. I cover that bowl with a damp towel and I'm going to let it rise for 60 minutes. After 60 minutes, you're going to remove that towel and punch that dough down. I'm going to flour a surface here, and I'm going to turn the dough out onto the surface, and I'm going to start kneading this. I'm not going to knead it like a ton. I'm just going to, try to make it a little bit smoother and make sure that everything's mixed up pretty well. Then I'm going to let it rest for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'm going to roll out my dough. It needs to be a 1/2 inch thick, so roll it out until you reach a 1/2 inch thickness and try to make the edges kind of squared off because Texas Roadhouse makes their rolls into little squares or rectangles. So I'm just trying to make mine into like this big squared off area. And I'm taking a pizza cutter and I'm just cutting little squares out, and that's going to be what my dough looks like. Little bitty squares. I have a silicone mat on a baking sheet over here. That's just to ensure that it doesn't stick. If you don't have a silicone mat, just oil it up, grease it up a bit just to make sure it doesn't stick. Now I'm just going to lay all of these little pieces that I cut on top of the baking sheet. And after I get them all on there, I'm going to cover it up with the towel for 60 more minutes. Make sure that your towel is a bit damp. It really helps it rise. After 60 minutes, they are ready to bake. Put them in a preheated oven on 350 for about 22 minutes. Keep an eye on them until they're golden brown. Mine cooked exactly 22 minutes, and this is what they look like. I melted about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just brushing it over the tops of the rolls like this. And I cannot tell you how good these things smell, y'all. Now, these are picture perfect rolls. Look how buttery, fluffy. They are a beautiful golden color. I am so proud of these, y'all. They're so pretty. Look how awesome these look. They smell so good. I'm so excited. It made so many. They look beautiful. Don't hate me. I don't like the cinnamon butter at Texas Roadhouse. I just don't like it. It's not good. I prefer honey butter. So I'm not going to be making any of that today because I won't eat it because I like it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My sister, Emily, she's like, something is wrong with you, Brooke. I just don't like it. Whenever we have been to Texas Roadhouse, we ask for regular butter. I'm sorry. But you can totally make some. Okay. This is a hot biscuit. It is fresh biscuit. This is a hot roll. That's what the bottom looks like. Looking gorgeous. It smells so good. Just crack open. It's hot. It's hot now. Yeah. Oh, wow. Do you see that? That totally looks like Texas Roadhouse. Okay. I'm going to let this cool a bit, and then I'll taste it. Oh, it's just so fluffy. Immediately, yes. Immediately, yes. Identical. Identical. Wow. I'm going to do this all the time. These are good. Blows my mind I was able to do this. Y'all know I'm not big on baking bread. I've started the whole sourdough thing, but I've never been really good at it. These were easy, and they are identical. I did the price comparison. If you go to Texas Roadhouse, you get the rolls complimentary, but you have to buy, your big meal with it. So it's kind of hard to do the price comparison, but it did go on the app. And I seen on the app you could just buy a dozen of the rolls. So I added 2 dozen to my cart, and it was around $10. After tax, it was around 11. Now, it's kind of hard to price point these because everything was stuff I already had in my house, pantry items. Yeast is pantry, salt is pantry, everything is pantry items. And if you divide the amount you used, y'all, it's pennies. It is pennies. So, all I'm going to say is this is a heck of a lot cheaper. Especially when you probably already have everything in your house already. A heck of a lot cheaper. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This one was fun and absolutely delicious. I love you guys. I will see you next video. Remember, as always, be positive and kind and happy. And let others be happy. And I'll see you later, taters.